Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex Light, and welcome to Racing Lights Productions, your home for sim racing. We are live at the Virtual Auto Club Speedway for the Online Motorsports Association's Virtual Racing Championship Minh Hang 200. We took a week off last week for the Daytona 24 in iRacing. Hopefully everyone who competed in the special event had a good time and were able to get good results in that race. Now you might be wondering, why are we at Auto Club tonight when Eldora was actually on the schedule? Unfortunately, during this testing, it was discovered that the next-gen Cup car was overheating around Eldora. Due to that discovery, it was voted on by the drivers of the OMA VRC to change the track to Auto Club for tonight. If you remember last season, then rookie Minh Hang took the win with a bold strategy at the end of the race and some help with the overtimes. We're back on the West Coast, which will surely be another exciting race. Looking back to the last race at Michigan, we had one of the wildest finishes in OMA VRC history. The top three drivers all wrecking out, allowing James Mendez to get his first career victory in the VRC. There were many other drivers that got career finishes as a result of that wreck as well. Tonight could bring more of the same. It's track very similar to Michigan. We're looking at some new faces in the field as well tonight, so make sure to be on the lookout for them throughout the race. Now let's go take a look at the point standings and the upcoming schedules. We're about halfway through the regular season, so we're gonna go take a look real quick at the schedule to give you guys a look at that. Looking here to the final couple races of the regular season. So we're at Eldora tonight, and the dates are slightly off. They will be adjusted. But we are, instead of Eldora, we are at Auto Club. Then the next several races, I mean, this is like the halfway point of the regular season. We go Charlotte, Homestead, Red Bull Ring, which is surely going to be an exciting one, Pocono, and then Talladega to round out. So that is a look at the end of the regular season for all you guys. A big mix of tracks coming up. I mean, yeah, we have the back-to-back 2-mile races here with Michigan and Auto Club, but even though they are your 2-mile ovals, they are not the same kind of track. Like, they race similar, but they're not the same because different lines work differently at each of these tracks. In my opinion, Michigan is more of a single lane kind of race where you can open it up, but we saw last week it was very difficult to do it. Auto Club is much different, where that high line is way more viable, and I can only guess that with the first part of this oval refresh, that high line is going to be even more viable here tonight. We're going to find that out, though, as we go. Taking a look over at the driver standings, big shakeups here after last race at Michigan. We have Jared Talmadge still in control of the points lead, only a 4-point lead over Jolene Sims. James Mendez getting his first career VRC win, gets a massive jump. He moves up to third place from, I believe he was in 7th. So he is only 14 points off the points lead right now. Drew Jewah dropped back a spot. Thomas Green, Tim Moore, Minh Hang, Jonathan Amodio, Isaac Shelley, and Brad Qualls, who was 13th going into Michigan, moving up to the top 10. He's currently 69 points back from Jared Talmadge's lead. Other drivers right now currently in for the playoffs. Again, we still have several races to go into the playoffs, but top 12 make the playoffs, and it is a chase style playoffs, not like your typical new age NASCAR playoff system where there's the rounds and stuff like that. Right now, Ryan McCall, Jared Newton are the wild card finishers for the playoffs. Now, how that works, I know we haven't really talked about it yet this season. We talked about it a lot last season. If you are a race winner and you end up finishing outside of the top 12, you do get like a wild card slot, but you have to be so many points or so many positions within that wild card slot in order to make the playoffs. So that's how that works. But you can kind of see only one rookie now in the playoffs, and that is Ryan McCall, but that can very quickly change as you see several right there on the outside looking in. Tyler Burden, Jonathan Adams, Christopher Lowell's a little bit further out, but he is also out there as well. So let's take a look at the team standings real quick, because there was a mix there. McGinnis Motorsports is on top now. They are back up there. We have Planet Sim Esports in second, Nexus Esports third, No You Motorsports fourth, and then OCM Racing is fifth. But if you take a look, between the top six, it is only 31 points that separates first to sixth. So you can see a flop anywhere in the points standings at any point in the season. It's not going to take much to really mix things up. But let's see a couple people in the chat joining up. So we see Ozio say, or Oizio, I think it's Oizio, saying, let's go Jolene Sims. So we've got a supporter there for the number 6 machine. So let's get ready to head down to the track here. Let's take a look at our starting lineup. Our starting lineup here for tonight. Pretty good field. We got 20 cars joining up for tonight. I'm not sure why, but for some reason my overlay system, the numbers are not populating correctly. You could see Jolene Sims and Tim Moore's numbers a little messed up. But taking a look, Jolene Sims gets the pole by about a 10,000th of a second. Him and Tim Moore, nearly identical times. I mean, on the timing board, it shows identical. So Jolene Sims gets the pole. Tim Moore is going to be starting alongside her. Minh takes third place. James Mendez is up to fourth place here tonight. A very good start for him. Jared Talmadge will be fifth. JT Sipes will be sixth. Thomas Green in seventh. Ryan McCall in eighth. Rounding out the top 10 in row 5, we got Victor Imbasiani and Noah McGalliard. Outside of the top 10, we're going to have Jared Newton and Isaac Shelley. And then we're going to have Luca Mazzilli and Tyler Glass. Tyler Glass making a race start. We haven't seen him in quite some time, so very nice to have him back on track. Now, from here, these drivers did not qualify. So we've got Hamilton Akabuzi. I hope I am saying that correctly. He's going to be in the 7, one of our new drivers here tonight. We have Drew Jewah in the 16, Patrick Moose in the 17, in the 38. He is starting in 17th. And then we've got Jonathan Amodio in 18th. And rounding out our field for tonight, Brad Qualls and Jimmy Amos. So that is our starting lineup here for tonight for the Can Min Hang 200s. Hopefully you guys are all excited. Going to be some great racing coming up here tonight as we go around Auto Club. Now, as a reminder, next week we will be back racing. We will be at Charlotte, so make sure you join us for that race. But 100 laps here tonight as we go around Auto Club, the 2-mile oval, which unfortunately is not going to be much more after, I believe next year is whenever construction will be complete, which is very unfortunate because I think this is probably one of the more competitive tracks on the not only iRacing side of things, but in NASCAR. We saw some phenomenal racing in the next gen car, and you would hope it would have been enough to revive the car, the track, I mean, but unfortunately it was not. But here we go. Getting ready to go green flag racing. Benny, the pace car driver, pulls it off into the pit lane. Barney, the flag man, has it up, ready to go. Green flag waving, and we are off and away at Auto Club Speedway. And so coming around turns 1 and 2, you can already see 2, 3 wide. Jolene Sims gonna hold on to the race lead here, but it's side by side with Tim Moore going into turn 3. Tim Moore, desperate for a win, has not gotten one yet since they have made the switch to iRacing. You can see he has been desperate every week. He's talked about it to me individually, how it's just been really hard to get that win. It's been very elusive, but especially at this point now that everybody's had some experience, it's gotten even more challenging because of the fact that the skill level has raised ever so slightly, which makes it just even more competitive across the entire field. You see him trying to make a move on Jolene Sims on the inside. It's not going to work there. He should be able to get back in line there. There we go. So the first 5 cars running single file through the opening laps here. Jolene Sims has the race lead. Tim Moore second, Minh third. James Mendez is in fourth in his Mobile 1 machine. And then you've got Jarrett Talmadge running out in 5th place right now. So look out, straight line all the way throughout the field. Nobody getting too racy. You don't want to burn up the tires too quickly, otherwise you're just going to become a sinking ship. But we will see what the strategies are. You see a lot of drivers choosing to go down to the bottom. That is going to be the tire saving strategy. But like we saw at Michigan, a lot of drivers choosing to go for that higher line. It allowed them to be able to make the passes, but it does burn up the tires a lot more, especially, I think, coming around 3 and 4, where you have to put a little more input into the wheel in order to get that car to rotate on that high line to stay outside of the wall. A little bit of side-by-side racing a little bit further back. I believe that is the 7 of Akabuzi alongside. That is the... Oh, hold on. He's showing the 84. That is a little confusing there. That is the 99 of JT Sipes. But you can see Akabuzi in the Dollar Tree Camry trying to see if he can move up the field right now. He's a member of Nexus Esports. So joining that team as well here in the OMA VRC, trying to move up the field, but unfortunately that bottom line just not quite working for him yet. It'll get there eventually, but you can see just riding out on the bottom, probably looking to save tires at this point, just hanging out, not really pushing the issue too much. No need to really send it this early on in the race. He's got Jewah hopping in behind, and sorry, that is Patrick Moose in the 38, not Jewah in the 36. Which, if you guys didn't realize, that is a number change for the reigning champ. He was formerly the number 4, now has made the change to number 36. Oh, that is 3 cars off there. Huge wreck. That is Tyler Burden, JT Sipes. I'm not sure who the other one was. I think it was Ryan McCall. Or sorry, Victor Imbasciani going off there. We will see if we can get that wreck back and see what had happened. No caution, though, as we are still green flag racing. And so while we have a moment, let's go take a look at what happened that had those cars slide down into the grass on the backstretch. A little bit of bumping there between JT Sipes. Oh, yep, he just gets a little too close to the 90 there of Ryan McCall. That causes him to spin down to the apron. So coming back to the live action. Top 4 starting to pull away a little bit. You've got Minh getting pushed along by James Mendez. But right now, Tim Moore just doing his best to ride it out. Being very patient behind Jolene Sims. You can see he's looking for the tire save. That's one thing. Tim always looking for the long game. He is a very patient driver. Never really one to be aggressive unless he really needs to be. Like we said, beginning of this long race, 200 miles, 100 laps around Auto Club. No need to really push the issue this early on lap 7, and not only slow yourself down, but cause your tires to burn up as well. You can see in your rearview mirror when you go through turns 1 and 2, 3, 4, just how much these cars fan out. And look out, James Mendez looking to make a move. He's going all the way to the bottom, down to the white line. Gonna see if he can paint that white line side by side with Tim Moore. Is it gonna be enough to make it stick, though, as they go down the backstretch? Tim Moore's gonna have the help of Minh. It looks like it's gonna be back to where he was for James Mendez. An interesting strategy, worth the shot. I mean, not really a bad move to go for. It gives you an opportunity, gives you a chance to try it to see if it'll work. But you learn, didn't quite stick. You got to have some help behind you. That's a big thing with this track. Very draft dependent whenever you're on that back stretch. The front stretch, not as much. You can cut the front stretch coming around the tri-oval-ish section. It allows you to be able to cut that track, maybe give yourself a little bit of time. But the backstretch, if you don't have the draft and somebody else does, you're going to get blown out pretty quickly. It's very early on, lots of shuffling going around. A couple drivers up already, 9 spots. Those being the 7 of Hamilton Akabuzi and then the 38 of Patrick Moose. Both fighting for the hard charger right now. And you can see they keep working together. They both following similar lines. You see going all the way to the bottom here through turns 1 and 2. We've seen them link up on the backstretch many a time here. Not going to be enough there for Moose in the 38. A very bright neon 38 Nexus machine. Definitely not going to miss that car on track with that pink and the blue. Which, by the way, question for you guys. So I don't know if everybody has seen the new models here for some of these next-gen cars. The Toyota Camry and the Ford Mustang both getting updates. You can see here reflected on both the 7 or 84 and the 38 machines. You can see the Dark Horse Mustang has been put onto the iRacing Ford Mustang, and then you can also see that the new Camry model has been put on as well. So what are your thoughts? What do you guys think about those? You can see a lot of drivers kind of doing some different things with the Mustang nose, but we are 4 wide here coming through turns 3 and 4. That is a big push. There is, ooh, that is almost Jared Talmadge into James Mendez, just barely a couple inches from getting into the back quarter panel of the 92. He holds on to 4th place, but for how much longer? Because every time we go into the corner, we fan out to 3, 4, almost 5 wide there coming around turn 1. Now let's take a moment. We're going to hop on board. Let's go on board with the 38 of Patrick Moose, because he's one of these drivers really trying to squeeze a lot into not a lot of space here, because you go through turns 3 and 4. This one a little bit tamer. A little wiggle there from Jared Talmadge. Now we're going to start to see who's been saving their tires, who's been able to keep those tires fresh throughout the duration of the opening stint here. Did you burn off the rears more? Did you burn off the right front more? What has been your strategy? What has been your long-term gain? We're going to find out who's got the tire right. Ooh, a little bit of bumping there between Moose and Talmadge. Looks like Moose going to be able to settle on in, though. Look at the 84 to the front. Here he goes. Way down to the apron. Going to send it deep into turn 3. Side by side with Minh on the exit. He's going to need some help, though. He's going to drop all the way to the bottom, down to the apron. As Hamilton Akabuzi going to try and go side by side with James Mendez in turn 1. The go time is here for him. He's all the way to the bottom. Almost everybody else riding that high line, looking to carry that momentum on the exits. Only these 2 Nexus drivers, the really only ones choosing to go all the way to the bottom at this point of the race. Now, the big thing you're going to start to see is either on the entry, a lot of these cars starting to push tight, and they're not going to get a lot of rotation on entry, or on the exit, they're going to be sliding because they were pushing those rears a little too hard early on. So we'll see who's been able to really tire save. As we go 3 wide, almost for the race. The 3 wide for the race lead. Here we go. Tim Moore, Jolene Sims, and then we have Hamilton Akabuzi going 3 wide down the backstretch. Tim Moore can't get back in line, so it's going to be Akabuzi dropping behind Tim Moore side by side with Jolene Sims through 3 and 4. Minh alongside. He's got his teammate in front of him from McGinnis Motorsports. He's going to try and push her to the race lead down the front stretch. Side by side, a drag race to the line. It's going to be Jolene Sims still holding on. She has led all 15 laps here so far, but it has been a great start, and things are heating up here as we're getting halfway through this first green flag run, as it's now 3 wide for second place. Tim Moore going to be the big loser there as he kind of pushes tight, has to just kind of bail out, and it's going to fall back a good few positions. It is actually back now to 7th, maybe even 8th place for Tim Moore. So after coming across the line in second, losing 6 spots in just half the track. Akabuzi side by side with Jolene Sims and Minh. Not going to have enough on the front stretch, but he's been diving deep into turn 1 every single time. Going to go real deep into turn 1. Is he going to have enough to do a slide job on Jolene Sims? He's going to try and open it up, but she is there. She's got the momentum. She's got the pace on the outside line, but that is up to second place now for the rookie. And if I'm not mistaken, him and Patrick Moose running part-time here for the OMA VRC. But what a way to make a statement in your first race is coming up, fighting for the race lead here about halfway through. Ooh, that is contact between the 38 and the 16. That was almost dangerous, as now it's side by side into turn 1 for the race lead. It's going to be Akabuzi going all the way to the bottom. He's been doing this every single time through turns 1 and 2. Is it going to be enough to pass Jolene Sims? He's going to come up top, and it's going to be Jolene Sims getting the run off of turn 2. She's got Minh hang behind. Does she go to the inside? No. She's going to settle in behind the 84 and is going to push him down the backstretch. So he goes down into turns 3 and 4 all the way to the bottom again. And it looks like she's just going to ride on behind in second place. But you know what? That allows her to save some fuel. And maybe be able to stretch her fuel run a little bit longer than what she was originally planning, since she's been running out front in all that open air. So new race leader for the first time here tonight, Hamilton Akabuzi, the rookie, making his first start, getting to the front on lap 19. Now our stage, just as a reminder, stage break is at lap 50. That's when we will take the points for the top 10 finishers. And then we also, unlike most leagues and unlike NASCAR, instead of taking a caution at the stage break, we continue to stay green. So instead of taking a break for the action, we keep things rolling. And right now, this is proving to be exciting, thrilling racing. Like I said at the top of the broadcast, it's just a shame that this is no longer going to be a track on the NASCAR circuit, because it is a phenomenal track. I think produces some of the best racing in all of the NASCAR schedule. So if you take a look on the timing tower on the left-hand side, you can see across the top 11 drivers, everybody is in this front pack here. It is so many cars packed into a tight space. A couple drivers have fallen off due to that incident earlier on, but other than that, pretty much the entire field right here coming in this pack, about a second and a half from each other. Even 2 by 2 further back is a big battle for top 10 right now, as Tim Moore, unfortunate for him because he's dropped back now all the way back to 7th, as he was fighting there for the lead for quite a while. I think he decided maybe just settle in, see what he can do, maybe save. We've always seen him, he's usually one of the last ones to pit. He tries to stretch his fuel runs as long as he can, that way he can try and make as few stops as possible. So we'll see what his long-term plan is, because I think once he realizes he's not getting that race lead, no need to keep fighting for that, and settling in further back might allow him to accomplish that goal of being able to stretch that fuel run a little bit longer. Mendes right up to the back bumper. That is going to be the 98 on the inside. Yes, that is the 98. I don't know who's in the 98 though. It looks like Isaac Shelley. Yeah, there you go. I'm not used to seeing the he's in a different scheme than he normally is, so I'm not used to seeing the is that the Vegas Golden Knights? It looks like it is. Get a closer look at that. No, it's not. Okay, the way it's like angled, it almost looks like a Vegas Golden Knights scheme. Like half of the logo is one thing, half the logo is another. But never mind, my apologies there. The racing has settled down a little bit. We can take a look a little bit further back here at some of the other drivers trying to catch this pack. We've got right now Luca Mazzilli with Tyler Glass. So Luca Mazzilli in the 48, Tyler Glass in the 5 machine, as they're currently fighting it out for 12th place. They're about 5 seconds off the pack, so a lot of ground to make up right now. I think the big thing they can hope for is a caution. Then you got a little bit further back here, there's Brad Qualls, and then you've got JT Sipes, Jimmy Amos, Victor Mbasiani, Ryan McCall, all kind of just riding around right now, just waiting for something to happen that'll hopefully allow them to get back into this race. I'm taking a look at the front of the field. Hamilton Akabuzi, ever since he took the race lead, he has gone. He is currently a half second ahead of Jolene Sims, and he is just getting faster and faster, it seems, as the race goes on. Really good running for him, and it seems like, yes, he was saving tires earlier on when he was being very passive. You kind of saw him and Patrick Moose like picking through the field, not really pushing too aggressively. Now, pedal to the metal, it's go time as we are halfway through the first stage. And if I'm remembering correctly, we'll start seeing pit stops here within the next 10 laps or so. So now strategy is going to start to become a thing, as much like last week at Michigan. Long green flag runs. You love to see it. It's great to be able to get these long runs. Another car we haven't looked at too much here tonight, the 36 car of Jewah is moving up the field. He's currently up 13 positions, fighting alongside the McGinnis Motorsports drivers, trying to see if he can get himself up to second place. He's going to go side by side with Minh and Jolene Sims into turn 1, trying to see if he can get all the way to the bottom of the track. It's not going to be enough, though, to clear Jolene Sims. He comes up, going to be side by side with her. Little wiggle there from the 36. As you can tell, those tires starting to get worn. Drivers really having to fight those tires and try to keep that car underneath of them. Here's the last race winner, James Mendez. He's still having a great run for himself. Riding out now 6th place. He's dropped a couple spots, but he's still having himself a really good run. Riding behind Patrick Moose. You can see he is pushing really well, getting himself up further and further. Choosing that high line, you can see just a couple inches off that outside wall. It's not an easy thing to do to keep that car that close to the outside wall. Very easy to just push a little bit too tight, and then boom, you're in that outside wall, and these cars are hard to get off the wall. Right now, some really good showing here from James Mendez, and we actually have a couple drivers already coming down into the pit lane. Jolene Sims deciding to come down. Tim Moore came down on lap 24, very early for him. But we are starting to see the pit cycle go through. Tyler Glass comes down as well. Jump up to our race leader. Here's Hamilton Akabuzi riding on board the back bumper. Just how much of a gap he's built up, but they're slowly catching up now. Jewah to the front, and Drew just has them pulling alongside him, and we are going to see Hamilton come down into the pit lane. So the race leader into the pits. He's going to have Minh joining him as well. So new race leader Jewah, the reigning champ, up to the front for the first time here today. So he's going to take his first laps around as the race leader. We'll see if he decides to stay out much longer, if he's just going to take the 1 lap lead and then bring it down into the pit lane. James Mendez, Patrick Moose, Thomas Green, Isaac Shelley all still out on track. Jared Talmadge as well, part of this front pack. Don't be surprised to see probably most of these guys coming down this time around, as we see Drew slowing down, and looks like James Mendez also slowing down. Thomas Green electing to stay out, and ooh, lots of drivers coming in very close on the pit line. But it looks like nobody, hopefully, having a speeding penalty. Thomas Green staying out. He's going to take his lap lead. He has Victor Imbasciani riding around with him, but Imbasciani, he already came down pit lane a little bit ago. So we'll keep an eye out for Akabuzi right now. About a third of a second was his race lead to Jewah when he came down into the pits. We'll see who's going to have the strategy, which one had the better pit entry and everything like that. Thomas Green into the pits, so he is going to take the race lead. There's Jewah coming around on the apron. Akabuzi, though, right here on the outside. He's going to take the lead. Drew's going to try and get to the speed as quick as he can, but it looks like Akabuzi going to be able to pull away about a half second, maybe almost a full second, as he gets ready to go into turn 2. So he gets himself a pretty solid gap there over Jewah after that pit cycle. Thomas Green out of the pits now. Now you have to keep in mind Thomas Green a little bit further back in that front pack whenever all of them decided to start coming in. So him staying out, I think, was more to just get the point, the lap lead, and then go from there. But through the pit cycle, lots of drivers either losing a lot of time or getting spread out. You can see you have Akabuzi and Jewah really they're close-ish, about a second apart from each other. But then from there, I mean, you got to keep in mind, we were about a second and a half to 2 seconds between first and 11th. Through that pit cycle, it is now from first to ninth, almost 6 seconds difference. That's how spread out everything is. So really interesting to see how things played out throughout that opening pit stint. And we'll see how well this second one goes. Who's able to really gain time over Akabuzi, over what happened over the green flag cycle. But you take a look, Minh still holding on to third place. James Mendez is back up to fourth. Shelley in fifth. Patrick Moose is in sixth. Jared Talmadge, Jolene Sims, Thomas Green, and Jared Newton round out your top 10. You can see this is kind of where the fight is right now. This is the fight for third place. You've got a handful of drivers all right here, pretty close to each other. Jared Talmadge hanging back a little bit further. But yeah, it's a good battle here for third place. James Mendez trying to see if he can work his way around Minh. He's been trying all race long, just has not been able to work his way around that two machine. And like I said in the pre-race, unfortunately what would be awesome is to have the replay of last year's finish with Minh winning the race. Unfortunately, we don't have that, but you just have to recall back to last season. Minh had bold strategy call, staying out at the end of the race, and it played out for him to be able to get his first ever victory. He actually was a free agent at the time before signing with McGuinness Motorsports. But he's shown to have a very good car here tonight. He's got a lot of pace in that two machine. And they're slowly catching up to the race leader. He was last lap about 15 thousandths of a second faster than that of Akabuzi. So we'll see if they can continue to find that time. If Mendez gets up there and starts fighting side by side with Minh, they won't have a chance. They'll start losing the leader a lot. Let's take a look here while we have a moment. Look at what time everybody came in on their first pit stop. You can see everybody pretty much within 3 laps of each other. We had Jolene Sims go first on lap 27. Tim Moore was actually the earliest. He was on lap 24. Not sure what was going on with the 69, but it's really hurt him. He is way back, way off pace now at this point of the race. He's back in 12th, about 14 seconds back from the race lead. But you can see the majority of the crowd coming in on lap 29. A couple drivers, Hang and Akabuzi, coming in on lap 28. So they work around Victor and Bassiani side by side behind. That is Moose and Shelley. And they've been going back and forth here for the past several laps. Isaac Shelley just hasn't been able to work his way around the 38. He has tried time and time again. As, that is going to be Victor and Bassiani down to the inside. Patrick Moose has a lot of pace. Might have to let off a little bit. That is a slide there from the 15 right in front of the 2 top 5 drivers. That's going to hold him up a little bit. That allows Patrick Moose to get a little bit of breathing room. You can see back up in front of them. They've got Minh, James Mendez still just pushing each other, not really trying to force too much here. Because again, you don't want to get into too big of a battle and slow yourselves down. And actually, if we take a look here over the past couple of laps between Minh and Akabuzi, you can see he's gaining time just ever so slightly over Akabuzi. That time is anywhere between 1 to 2 tenths of a second each lap. You can see that last lap is probably his slowest over the last 5 for Minh. But he's gaining time nonetheless, and that's what matters, because that gap has gone from being about 3 seconds back to now under 2. So he is gaining time at a pretty rapid pace at this point of the race. So we'll see if he can continue getting that. He's getting help from his teammate as well, from James Mendez. But now you take a look back up front, and we're going to start getting a little bit of a battle going on as Jewah is slowly closing in on Hamilton Akabuzi as well, now that he's in that tow. Taking a little bit look further back, some other action going on track. This is Tim Moore trying to hunt down Tyler Glass, another McGinnis Motorsports driver in the 5 machine. He's trying to see if he can work his way up, trying to get back to that top 10. Still a while for him to go. Jared Newton is currently the last car in the top 10, and he's about 2 seconds ahead of Tim Moore and Tyler Glass here. Looking at another battle going on track, though. There we go. That's a better angle. We got 3 wide racing here for 7th place. Thomas Green on the outside of the 3 wide. And now you've got on the outside line Jared Talmadge with Jolene Sims on the inside. So these guys, they're a couple seconds back from the group fighting for 3rd place. Thomas Green able to pull away a little bit as those 2 side drafting further behind. As Jolene Sims, she led the first about 17 laps and almost loses it coming out of turn 2. It's going to allow Jared Talmadge to get ahead, and she's going to sink right in behind. That pit stop, not very kind to Jolene Sims. She actually, other than Victor and Bassiani, had the slowest pit stop of any driver. She had a about 5 seconds faster to 7 seconds. Or sorry, slower, 5 seconds slower to 7 seconds slower than most drivers in the field, which is what caused her to be so much further behind than everybody else. So if we go back up to the front of the field here, we can go take a look here. Just how close these guys have gotten to the race lead. Minh Heng about a half second off from Drew Jewah. He's still got James Mendez behind. Patrick Moose hanging out as well. But they have caught up to the race leaders now. The top 4 within 1 second of each other. Top 5 within a second of each other. If you add in Shelley, 1.5 seconds between all 6 in the front. We'll see how hard they're going to fight as we come across the line. This time it will be 7 to go until we hit our stage break. Again, lap 50. It's the start of lap 50 where we freeze the field and we take the top 10 and we award them points based on where they finished. If Minh Heng's going to try and get to that race lead, he's really got to start pushing. Drew Jewah's going to try as well. Drew has gotten himself stage wins already this season. He has not gotten himself into victory lane yet. So he is looking for his first win. Lots of drivers hungry for their first win here tonight. Some full-time guys up here. You've got Isaac Shelley, Minh Heng, Drew Jewah, but then you also have the newcomers of Hamilton Akabuzi and Patrick Moose that would love to make an opening statement of getting their cars into victory lane for Nexus Esports. As we come across the line, it's going to be 6 laps to go to stage, and we can hop on board here on the back bumper of the 7 car. And you just see as we go through, everybody currently choosing some different lines, trying to get that clean air. You can see Minh Heng's trying to see if he can ride that high line, see if he can gain that way. He's about 4/10 off from Drew Jewah, getting closer to about 1/4 second, trying to see if he can close that gap more and more. But you got to think, how much tire has he used to try and close this gap? Because these guys up front have, I'm sure, been saving a whole lot here throughout this opening stint. Even though Drew's gap was 1 second, he slowly closed in while these guys further behind gained at a much faster rate. So we are going to have ourselves one heck of a battle coming up here very, very soon. 45, as now we have 5 to go to stage. Who is going to get that stage win? That very important stage win, as it gives you a playoff point for once we enter our chase style playoffs. And that gap getting closer and closer. Drew trying to get about 1/4 second back now. He's dropped back a lot through turns 3 and 4. Akabuzi really sending it, going for the deep entry, but Drew takes the exit speed. He's going to close up a lot. He's going to have Minh Heng behind him as well. 2 very strong drivers here at Auto Club. We'll see the line. Drew's going to go for the middle here, down to about that bottom seam, all the way to the bottom, actually. We see Minh Heng go for the deepest line that he's gone so far in the race. And, oh, we have Drew Jewah pop away for a second. Battle for fourth place, though, going on a little bit further behind. Patrick Moose trying to see if he can find a way around James Mendez. Not going to find it there. So here we go. Now 46. It will be 47 as we cross the line. It's still Hamilton Akabuzi with the lead, but he is pushing real hard on the exit. That car's starting to get very, very squirrely coming onto the front stretch. Drew going to see if he can look for a line. He swerves to the inside, goes to the outside, not going to be able to find a lane. So he decides to get behind. Oh, that is James Mendez sideways on the apron. We stay green flag. How did we stay green? No yellow, 2 cars sliding across turn 1, one missing its entire front bumper, but we stay green flag racing. Now it's going to be 48 at the line, 3 laps left to the stage break, and oh, caution is thrown. That will be the stage. And oh my gosh, Hamilton Akabuzi, not sure what happened. That car snapped to the outside. All right, so just a little side note. It looks like Akabuzi is done for the night. But a small side note, it just came across the radio that they are not opening the pits until lap 50 due to the stage. So they're going to wait till lap 50 to open up the pits. While we have a moment, let's go take a look. I want to see what on earth happened to the 7 car. What caused that car to get so loose? That does not help there. Let's go back a little bit further and see what caused him to get so loose here. Because again, caution is out. I believe it's around here. You see him come around. It gets loose. And he just can't save it. Yeah, that is unfortunate. Let's go back one more time. I want to see just the point the caution came out, because it was coming around turns 3 and 4 is where the caution was thrown, and the caution was thrown by Admin. So we're green going into turn 3. Still green here. There it is. It's right there. The caution comes out. So you know what it might have been? It might have been a moment he starts to let off. Yeah, the car just does not like it. And that is a shame. The guy who was leading, he's led the most laps, is now going to take that back. A 7 car had to leave is what Drew said. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. So, my goodness. Unfortunate, though, that he had to go. Phenomenal racing from him. So, we'll see, hopefully, have him back for some more races throughout this season. But taking a look here as we get ready to go to our mid-race break. We do have a moment. We can go through all the drivers here real fast. We have, I guess, I'm not sure how it's going to be scored. I would guess then Drew is going to be the stage winner. I guess we'll see. But he will be first, coming into the pits at least. Then in second place will be Minh Hang. Isaac Shelley will be third. James Mendez will be fourth. Thomas Green will be fifth. Jared Talmadge in 6th. Jolene Sims will be 7th. Jared Newton will be 8th place. Tim Moore will be 9th. And then Tyler Glass rounds out the top 10. Going a little bit further back throughout the field, we've got Luca Mazzilli in 11th. JT Sipes in 12th. Patrick Moose all the way back to 13th. Again, he was one of those cars caught up in that incident that brought out the caution. And then Victor Imbasiani will be 14th. Then cars that are a lap down, we've got Ryan McCall, we've got Noah McDowell, Brad Qualls, and then Jimmy Amos, and it looks like Jonathan Omodio unable to bring the car back out after that opening incident. But that was our mid-race break. All right. So my apologies, listening to race control, just some of the changes being made here. So we are coming down the pit lane this time. Pits are now open for drivers to come down. Everybody's going to be coming down full fuel, full service, I would assume. I would doubt anybody takes just 2 tires. And then we will be doing our choose next time around. So here we go. Coming down the pit lane. I'm sure we will see everybody coming on down, led by race leader Jewah. And we see, I think the lap cars are told they have to stay out. They can come down the next time around, if I'm not mistaken. So here we go. The top 14 cars coming down pit lane. Gonna be an interesting battle getting off. It looks like Drew. We'll see if he's gonna be able to come out on top. Now remember, Drew, he did not qualify, so he started at the back of the field. You can see Minh coming all the way to the front. Jolene Sims as well. We'll see if Tim Moore can leapfrog the field. He was back in 9th place. And he was running up front for the opening stint of the race up until about lap 20, and then just had some misfortune. Isaac Shelley out quick. Is he going to beat off Minh? No, Minh gets off first. Then it's going to be Isaac Shelley, James Mendez, Thomas Green, Drew Jewah, Jarrett Talmadge, and then, side by side, that is Victor Imbassiani, Thomas Green. Or not Thomas Green, Victor Imbassiani and Drew, Tyler Glass. So we had a little bit of a shakeup here in the front. So, and we'll have things change around, but coming off pit lane, the top 5, Minh, Isaac Shelley, James Mendez, Thomas Green, and Drew Jewah. So Drew dropping all the way back to 5th place through the pit cycle. Jared Newton moved up a couple spots as well. He's up to 7th place. So big win for him. All right, so here we go. This is the choose. So coming down pit lane means that you are taking the inside line. If you stay out on the oval, you are taking the outside line. So the inside line is going to be race leader Minh. Looks like Tim Moore, Jolene Sims, and then the 48 of Luca Mazzilli. A very small inside line. That outside line, it's going to consist of Isaac Shelley, James Mendez, Thomas Green, Drew Jewah, Jarrett Talmadge, and other drivers bringing up the rear there. So, at front row is going to be Isaac Shelley, Minh. So we'll see how things are going to play out here. So unfortunately, what was shaping up to be an interesting race with strategy, it's still going to be a good race because we had some good green flag racing. But we take out that long-term strategy out of it due to that caution right before the stage. So we kind of have a stage break anyway, but for our first restart of the race, why don't we go and turn up the mics on track, and we mute the mic up here in the booth and give you the sights and sounds of the beautiful sunset here at the Auto Club Speedway. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the sights and sounds of Auto Club Speedway. In that time, we have a new race leader, James Mendez, up to the front. Your race winner from Michigan won the most important lap of the race, is now up to the front, leading some laps here around Auto Club Speedway. As the sun's going down and lights are going up here at Auto Club, that racing is only heating up as we get closer and closer to the end. 44 laps to go. It'll be 43 across the line, as you saw drivers all over the track here, just like it was in the opening laps. And the big thing to keep an eye out is when are drivers coming down for the final pit stop. Given any overtime attempts at the end of the race, as long as we stay green flag racing, we saw drivers can push it as far as about 30 laps on fuel. So we'll start seeing drivers come down probably about 25 to go if they want to split it in half. Maybe as late as just 20 to go if they want to try and take that pit stop as late as possible. You can see 2 by 2 by 2 as we look throughout the field. As many drivers trying to see if they can get open air, trying different lines higher. Lots of drivers maybe going for the tire safe strategy and going down to the bottom. You can see some names being shuffled around the field. But if you look, coming through turns 1 and 2, not really too many drivers going all the way to the bottom. Two of them that are to keep an eye out, OCM teammates in Tim Moore and Jewah. But a lot of the drivers trying to stay on that top half. You see James Mendez, he's been doing it all race long, running up by the wall, running that middle lane as well, doing what he can to carry the most momentum. Now, we saw earlier on when Hamilton Akabuzi, when he ran to the front, he was running the bottom lane. It allowed him to really control the pace down there. So we'll see if he's going to be able, if we're going to have somebody do that here in the second half of the race, if anybody's going to opt to run to the bottom. The nice thing is, as these lights turn on, the sun goes down, the track temp cools off, you're going to get more and more grip. It's going to be less and less tire wear because it's putting less strain on the tires since the track is not as hot. You're going to start to see drivers be able to push a little bit more. We're going to start to see faster and faster lap times as the lights turn on. It's going to start to get more intense, especially when we get closer to the finish, because again, a tire wear not going to be as significant. It's still going to be a thing, obviously. I mean, you can't get away from it, especially when you're pushing as hard as you are, say, on that high line like you see James Mendez. But you'll start to see drivers being able to really send it on the inside a lot more, and it's going to stick a lot easier. Or you're going to see drivers ride that high line and staying on throttle longer because they just have that grip naturally, rather than just trying to really maneuver it on that outside wall and doing what they can to keep the car off the wall. A 3 wide across the line here for second place. That's going to be Minh in the middle of the sandwich. That's going to be Thomas Green and Tim Moore on the outsides of him, as he's dropping back a little bit, kind of in that sucker hole position. Isaac Shelley on the outside as well, as he's coming along that outside line. Jewah and Tim Moore still riding that bottom. As you can see, an interesting move by James Mendez. He was going to try and give Tim Moore some of that draft. He wants to see that side-by-side racing behind him. That's only going to benefit the 92. And you can see he knows that. If he dropped down to the inside a little bit, you can see him coming all the way to the bottom, just trying to do what he can to shuffle up the order, break up that draft, and really cause other drivers to get to the inside of maybe Thomas Green. Because look at Thomas Green. He is moving, riding inches from the wall, nearly like Darlington. You can see that back bumper was mere inches from hitting turn 1's wall. But beautiful, beautiful control in that 3 machine. As he closes the gap more and more, he's going to send to the inside line. Going to be side by side. Coming around 3 and 4. He's not going to be clear. Well, maybe he is. Coming up to the line, it's going to be Mendez getting that momentum. Again, that outside line. He's got that head of steam. And now he's got a little bit of help with Tim Moore behind in the 69. So Thomas Green stuck on that inside line. For how long, though, is he going to be able to get that bottom to really work? As you can see, James Mendez is taking a little bit of note out of his page, out of his book there, as he's going all the way to the wall that time around turns 1 and 2. And they're really going to start to pull away from Thomas Green as he's got some help from Tim Moore in the 69 behind. Again, Tim Moore, he's hungry for a race win. He's not really looking to get to the lead right now, as you can see. Being patient, just riding it out. And it doesn't really have anywhere he can go either. Oh, that is Minh hanging the outside wall. That's going to cause Isaac Shelley to shoot down low. And that's going to force Drew Jewah all the way to the bottom of the track, coming around the tri-oval. 3 wide for 4th place here for behind Thomas Green. And they are packed in here, coming across the front stretch through turns 1 and 2. Nobody getting the advantage through turns 1 and 2. Drew tries to go for the slide job. Can't get it to work as he's going to have to stay on the bottom there. He's going to have a JT Sipes behind. You can see Thomas Green maybe seeing if he can give Isaac Shelley a little bit of help. Not going to happen. They're going to settle in behind, though. So 2 by 2 by 2, battling it out for 4th place. It is intense here. 35 laps to go as we come across the line this time. And James Mendez still holding on to that race lead. He gets a little bit of help here from Jimmy Amos in front. And I'm sure Jimmy is going to be trying to get out of the way. He's going to stay on the high line. So watch out on the backstretch. Driver's going to have to maneuver around the 67. And there he goes. He's going to stay on the outside line. Everybody going to bob and weave around the 67. So James Mendez still holding on to the race lead. Tim Moore to the bottom of the track. And he try and get the slide job pulled off. He's going to be side by side with the 92 coming off of turn 4. And now you're going to see Thomas Green start to close up that gap. Tim Moore all the way to the bottom, trying to see if maybe he could get the lap lead. Does not, just barely by about 0.02 of a second. He's going to try it again, though. Tim Moore all the way to the bottom. He's going to be side by side coming around through the middle of 1 and 2. Coming up on turn 2 exit. Not going to be able to get that slide job done. So he's going to have to settle in on the outside or the inside here. Can't get in line either because Thomas Green has closed up that gap. And so the fight for the race lead still James Mendez is to lose at this point. He's doing a great job holding that outside line, but the question is, how much more does he have in those tires? A lot of these drivers have been pushing that inside line, trying to be a little bit more patient. He's been running pretty much the outside exclusively. So those right side tires, as we go longer and longer throughout this race, they're going to start getting more and more angry because they're going to be nice and hot with how he's been running these outside lines. If you take a look, Drew Jewah was riding behind teammate Tim Moore, decides to get in line with everybody else. Don't be surprised to see them join up here in a moment. Thomas Green down to the bottom is not going to get there. Yes, he does actually side by side. Is he going to drop all the way to the bottom? He's looking probably to settle in back behind. Oh no, he's going to actually, he's pulling ahead. Gets a little bit of the side draft. I think he might have had the lap lead there. It's pretty close. He's going to try and make sure he gets the lap lead, though, this time around. Thomas Green all the way to the bottom. Going to look for the slide job. He's coming out of turn 2. Is he going to be able to do it? He does get the slide job. James Mendez is going to have the momentum, though. Does he dive the inside? We haven't seen him really down to the inside line, coming through the corners. He's going to take the inside. Down to the bottom is the 92 of Mendez. Going to try and get back his race lead. Does he have enough in the car? Sends it all the way. Gets on the throttle hard. Up to the wall. Gets the slide job on the 3. They're side by side coming across the line again. Is it going to be Thomas Green for the lap lead? It will be, just by about 100th of a second. So that lap for sure was Thomas Green's. But they're going to keep going at it. And you can see Mendez does not want to ride that bottom. You just saw he set it down on the inside line, but as soon as he could get on throttle and get that car back up to the top, he gassed it as hard as he could, and they pushed that car really aggressively to the outside wall. You could tell that right front starting to get eaten up in the 92 just with how tight he was mid-corner on the bottom. You can see some of the drivers that are saving. You can see how much rotation they're able to get through the middle of these corners. They don't really have much trouble, especially when they get on throttle, and it's interesting to see James Mendez is breaking up the flow between Thomas Green and him, because you can see Green settles in behind. He immediately dives to the inside, so it's an interesting strategy He's trying to get some other cars to go side by side with Thomas Green, but at the same time, it might be hurting him because now you see Jewah side by side, and Drew was super fast over the last stint. And Drew has not been pushing so far. He has been saving those tires a ton. So Drew to the race lead, gets the slide job, then he turns on the blink switch. It's going to be, actually, I think that was James Mendez of the line. It might not have been Drew. Doesn't matter, though, nonetheless. Drew has had a lap led, so right now I think they're battling it out for just to get track position. Oh, Thomas Green jumping out there for a second. He's back in. Jewah back to the race lead. He's going to be able to get it. James Mendez, does he push the 36? 36 goes down to the inside. Interesting that he doesn't want the push from the 92. But look out, here comes the 3, Thomas Green on the inside of the 92 as well. He's not going to be able to get clear, and he just barely squeezes into a car gap, just big enough for his car to fit. And now you got some drivers going all the way to the apron, and look out who's back to the front, none other than the 6 of Jolene Sims. We haven't seen her up at the front since back on lap 17. It's been quite a while since we've seen her at the front of the field, but she has done some massive saving herself and now has some pace in that 6 machine. She's got some help behind. That's JT Sipes in the 99, as well as Jarrett Talmadge, current points leader, back in the 16. They're both running the inside line with Jolene Sims. So we'll see if she can get some help to get to the front. But the battling right now between Sims and Mendez, helping out Jewah immensely. His gap now about a half a second ahead. And we're going to start seeing cars coming down pit lane within the next couple of laps. Don't be surprised to start seeing maybe somebody jump as early as 25 to go, because that's the halfway point between our last caution and the end of the race. Can definitely see somebody jump down early and see if they can undercut the field. Especially if you can get those fresh tires. Again, that tire wear, now that the sun is down, the track's going to be cooler. You're not going to have to worry about the wear as much. You know you can push the car a little bit harder, and you'll be able to get more out of it in the long run. Don't be surprised. Oh, that is 3 wide. That's not going to work. Tim Moore gets bumped around. That is Jarrett Talmadge all the way to the bottom. That was a scary moment. Sorry, not Isaac Shaw. That was Tim Moore that got the contact of it. He took the brunt of it. And again, when we get to the end of a run, and the 69 car just it falls off. We saw it last time. He just dropped off at the end of the run, got caught in a bad spot, lost about 6-7 spots, and we see it again. He's back to 9th place right now in the Chevy Camaro. We'll see if he's going to be able to bounce back here in the next couple laps. But he actually is coming down pit road now. He's going to come down with James Mendez. So our first 2 to take the bait, they're coming down just like I kind of predicted. Lap 25 to go. And now that the first one's come down, how soon do we see some others? I would assume over the next couple laps, we're going to see everybody start to come down in waves. If you remember the first stint, lap 29 was the big number where we see most drivers come down. And so I'm guessing once Drew comes down, we're going to see most of this field come down. He's going to be staying out this time around, as well as looks like most of the others. Nobody else really opting to come down pit lane. So this is a hornet's nest of drivers behind Jewah between 2nd place and 7th place. That's what we've got back here in this pack. And Minh, ooh, you could see a huge slide for the 2 machine, able to save it, but man, that took a lot of work to keep that car straight coming out of the exit of 2. And we saw that in the last run. Minh's car, as fast as he can be, it really starts to take a hit on the late end of the run. Thomas Green into the outside wall. They are losing time on Jewah. They lost about 0.2 of a second that last lap. And he is trying to pull away as fast as he can. Now 23 to go. We haven't seen any others come down pit lane yet. Lots of drivers still opting to stay out. And again, I think everybody's going to bite once Drew decides to go in. Nobody's really going to try and play an alternate strategy, it seems like. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, lap 29 was really the furthest we saw most drivers take. We saw a couple take the car 30 laps, but you also have to keep in mind, at lap 50, yes, it was, we took fuel, but we also had another full caution lap after that. So cars might be able to go an extra lap or two based on how well they were able to save under the caution, under pacing. That is JT Sipes in the outside wall. He's going to drop back side by side. That is 3 wide and a very tight upper part of the track into the wall. That's Jewah Talmadge, Isaac Shelley. That's going to throw any strategy in the race out the window. James Mendez, Tim Moore, the big losers on this one. They took the pit. They came in early, and they are going to be a lap down as a result. They're going to have to take the wave around. They had to run laps on these fresh tires, and man, that is unfortunate for them. Drew going to be the leader here at the caution. And that was tough. I mean, you fit 3 cars into that upper third of a track. Not a lot of room to move. Let's go back and see that one more time here. So again, that was Jewah Talmadge, JT Sipes, Isaac Shelley. You can see coming around. Talmadge tries to make a move to the inside, gets on the throttle. It looked like they might have been clear, but I'm not sure if it was Shelley came down or if Talmadge just came up a little too much, but not enough space for them all to fit in that upper third of the track. So as we get ready to come down pit lane for what will most likely at this point be the final time tonight. It's going to be an interesting strategy play because when we go green flag racing again, I believe it'll be 18 laps to go. So our top 12 coming down through the pits. Or sorry, top 11, I believe. Oh no, it's only top 9. I didn't realize there were that many cars that were a lap down at this point. Thankfully for Isaac Shelley, Jewah Talmadge, they both have, or sorry, that's JT Sipes who was missing his front right fender. But as well as JT Sipes and Jewah Talmadge, they all have their fast repairs still available. So they're going to be able to get those fresh cars out there on track, and they're going to be able to basically keep their car clean. The race off pit lane is going to be Drew Jewah, Jolene Sims, Thomas Green, Minh Hang, Isaac Shelley, and then JT Sipes coming out as well. So that's our front of the field. Drew Jewah very easily coming out first. A very quick pit stop for him, about two seconds faster than Jolene Sims. Now, like I said, the ones that are the big ones to miss out, we've got James Mendez, Tim Moore, Patrick Moose as well, all came down for their pit stops. And now for these 3, I mean, the big thing is you are going to need to stay out because you need to get that wave around. It looks like most of these cars are staying out for a wave round. We'll have to see. But we are doing choose now this time around. And Victor Bassiani hasn't pitted yet? Oh no, he is doing his pit. Okay. I'm very confused because the thing with the choose cone using the pit lane, it had me very confused because Victor Bassiani was at the front of the field. And he was a lap down, so it looked like he was the race leader there for a moment. But taking a look here, Drew Jewah chooses the outside line this time instead of the inside line. Thomas Green opting for the inside line. So looking at the inside line, we're going to have Thomas Green, Minh Hang, JT Sipes, and then Jewah Talmadge. On the outside line, we're going to have Drew Jewah, Jolene Sims, Isaac Shelley, Jared Newton, which we haven't really talked too much about Jared Newton here tonight, but he's been quietly running around in the top 10. And then you've got Victor Imbasciani. Sorry, not Victor Imbasciani. That is Luca Mazzilli. And that's going to be on the outside as well. We are not going green this time around. We are going to go green next time by. Or maybe we are going green this time around. It looks like we are going green. My apologies. I thought we were going one more. But 18 to go as Jewah leads us around for what could be our final restart here in the Can Minh Hang 200 at Auto Club Speedway. The racing has been really intense on every single restart, and now at this point, it is a little bit of a longer sprint to the end. Cars cold. Oh, tires very cold. Chasey sipes into the outside wall. That is going to be his night as it smacks the outside wall hard. Kills not only that right front tire, but takes the whole front end off as well. So 99 is going to have to call that a race, unfortunately. Otherwise, don't think he has a fast repair available. But now Thomas Green to the front. He's going to take the lap lead, and he's going to try and hold on to that race lead over Drew Jewah. He's got Jolene Sims pushing him behind. Then you've got Isaac Shelley up there as well. Isaac Shelley, he's been running up front all night long. Hasn't had a chance to race for the lead. If you remember back to Daytona Road Course, he won that race. It was his first race win since, I believe, season 4, if I'm remembering correctly. So lots of drivers up here. They've won recently. Thomas Green would love to get another win under his belt. He won last season in season 10. Jared Talmadge already has 2 wins. James Mendez has a win. But then you've got some other drivers that could get their first time win, but caution here. Not sure who brought that caution out, but we will find out here in a moment. So taking a look, Jimmy Amos further back. You got Victor Imbasciani getting a little loose, makes contact with Ryan McCall. Oh, that is, yeah, that's a lot there. Collected a handful of cars. Our third caution of the night. So now here's an interesting situation. You have those couple cars that they had to take the wave around. Patrick Moose, Tim Moore. Oh, that answers my question right away. I was going to say, what did they do? They did not get to come down pit lane last time by because they came down before the caution. And so my question was going to be, do they come down? Do they take the tires? Do they top off on fuel? It looks like they are going to do just that. Now, interesting to see. We see Patrick Moose toss up the right side, the left sides, I mean, not the rights. We'll see what Tim Moore decides to do. I would assume Tim probably just topping off, taking rights maybe. It looks like at least right sides for him. We'll see if he takes a full set. Now you're going to keep in mind, we're going to go green flag racing. It is going to be about, I think 12 to go or so. So Patrick Moose is going to come out in 10th. James Mendez will be 9th. It looks like they all elected to top off and take full sets of tires. As a reminder, you can catch more action of the OMA VRC next week. We will be going to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Or if you remember that race last year, it was a very interesting one. We used we used 5 overtime attempts in that race. Had some very tough racing, and we even had a moment where Drew Jewah had to take a pit stop to go to the restroom. Yeah, he decided that he was going to bring the car in. He let it sit on pit road for quite a while and then came back out. There was a lot of great moments from Charlotte last season, and I'm sure there will be again this season when we go there next week. And then we also go to Homestead in 2 weeks. And then in 3 weeks, we go road course racing. This time across the pond over in Austria at the Red Bull Ring. So make sure you join us for all those races again. Green flag drops 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Coverage starts around 8:20 p.m. Agreed, Luca. Charlotte was a phenomenal race last season. It was a blast to cover that race, and I'm sure it will be again this season. So far, I mean, this year, the races this year have been great racing. Yeah, there's been a handful of incidents, some things that have been a little sloppy and messy, but overall, the racing has been great this season, and I'm only looking forward to it just heating up as we get closer and closer to the end of the regular season. As we get ready to go, green flag racing. It'll be 13 to go coming across line this time around. Jewah and Thomas Green at the front of the field. Thomas Green is going to be taking the green flag here. So here we go, a sprint to the finish. Benny, the pace car driver, is going to make that hard left down to pit lane. Barney the flagman's got the green flag up, waiting for Thomas Green to come through the Geico restart zone. He takes the Geico restart zone. He is off. We are green flag racing. 13 to go. The sprint to the finish here at the Can Minh Hang 200 at Auto Club Speedway. Just buckle up. It's going to be an exciting finish here as it's side by side all the way throughout the field behind race leader Thomas Green. Thomas Green, can he hold on though? Looking for his first win this season. Lots of drivers trying to get their first win this season. Several of them very, very hungry to try and get into victory lane. Jolene Sims, she started on pole here tonight. Can she finish in first place? As she goes to the front, is going to throw to the inside. It's Thomas Green throwing the switch back on her. Then the whole field goes to the inside line. Jolene Sims hung out to dry. Jewah all the way to the apron. He's going to ride almost all the way down there into turn one. Caution has been thrown to the wind here at this point as drivers are going all out here in the final 12 laps. Jewah going to throw the slider on Isaac Shelley. Caused a little bit of error wash on the 98. You can see him getting a little squirrely coming off of turn two. And Thomas Green, if he sees these drivers flip-flopping second place behind him, that's what you want to see. It is a beautiful sight because you know nobody's going to be able to contest you if they are constantly going back and forth. Now on fresh tires, it's kind of a toss-up on who's the fastest driver. That outside line is shown to be very strong on cold tires. You have to really be bold to take that inside line for a pass, and we see that from Jewah there. Pushes all the way to the bottom. However, it's too much. Late apex there from the 3. He's going to be able to carry a little bit more momentum off. He's going to be side by side. It's not going to be enough to get ahead, but they're going to go dead even into turn 3 here, racing for the lead. Thomas Green, Jewah still side by side coming through the middle of turns 3 and 4, and it is almost 3 wide behind them for third place as well. Thomas Green isn't able to get ahead here. It's going to be pretty much dead even still coming around the front stretch. He's able to keep it pretty even there for a bit until some help comes from Isaac Shelley behind. Jewah's going to go to the bottom. He's going to try and cut off that extra momentum from the 3 car. And you can see Jewah taking it a little bit slower that time through the corners. He saw last lap. He really sent it through turns 1 and 2. Realized that's not going to work as the car plowed really hard, and it allowed Green to run side by side with him. And further behind here, right there for third place, last spot on the podium, Jolene Sims, Isaac Shelley still going side by side. Jared Talmadge, James Mendez all waiting for an opportunity. You also have Luca Mazzilli waiting for a spot. Tim Moore, you see him hanging way back. He knows that tempers are flaring as the drivers are going door to door here, almost banging each other through the corners, and he knows there's an accident waiting to happen. We've seen with how tight this racing has been that it takes just one small slip up and that causes somebody to get into the outside wall. Drew's going to send to the inside. How deep is he willing to go on Thomas Green as he goes side by side? Oh, he disappears for a moment. That is a little bit of a code brown if you are the 3 car because you don't know how far you can go low. but he's going to hold on. He's going to take the race lead back from Jewah, and we flip-flop again. As you can see, drivers behind also jockeying for position. James Mendez diving to the inside. You've got Patrick Moose driving down to the inside as well. Riding around in the middle lane, Isaac Shelley. Interesting strategy there from him. Jolene Sims staying on the outside. James Mendez is going to be alongside Jolene Sims. Not going to be able to move up the positions as he gets hung out to dry. Patrick Moose was behind him for a moment, but doesn't opt to stay behind him much longer than that. Here's Jewah all the way to the bottom. Right now, he's just trying to see if he can save for the end. You don't want to push it too hard. You don't want to blow up your stuff, but you've got to make sure you give yourself enough time to be able to make a move. And Drew taking as much out of the track as he can. You can see him driving all the way to the bottom. It just makes it really hard to get that car to rotate through turns 1 and 2. You can see Thomas Green knows he takes advantage of that. He's going to try and cut down the track on a late apex, try and get more speed on the exit. He's got Isaac Shelley behind. Shelley pushing the 3 is now going to try and set himself up for an opportunity to make a pass as well. He's going to settle in behind, though, rather than trying to move further ahead. It's going to be Thomas Green. He's going to slide up. Now Drew Jewah, what does he do? Does he ride behind the 3? Does he try to make a move to the inside? He's going to go down low. Thomas Green going as well. He sees that the 36 is there, and they're going to be side by side again going into turn 1. Back and forth for the race lead, constantly going side by side. And look at this move. Again, Thomas Green, he goes for the super late apex. He is hooking that so hard through the middle of turns 1 and 2 to be able to get the maximum exit speed. We're going to be 3 wide, though, as Isaac Shelley is going to insert himself into the conversation. It is a 3-way fight for the lead, as we're going to be 5 to go this time around. And if you're getting flashbacks to Michigan, so am I. This might be a wreck across the line like we had last time. And oh, that is almost a sideways Drew Jewah. Here comes James Mendez all the way to the inside. It's going to be Thomas Green dropping back in behind. Still side by side for the race lead. This time Isaac Shelley is up to the front. Drew all the way to the bottom. Isaac Shelley, though, he's not going for the bold strategy that we saw Thomas Green doing. He's going to ride that middle lane, try and see if he can maximize the pace. But the problem is, Drew, on those fresher tires, is able to take that bottom, and he's able to send it so aggressively. Now we see Shelley. He's going to try his hand at the race lead, side by side with Drew. He's going to force Drew to get up top pretty quickly. It's going to be 3 wide as James Mendez joins the conversation all the way to the bottom. 3 wide across, 4 wide across the line. It's 4 wide for the race lead into turn 1. As we see going to the bottom, James Mendez is up at the top. Jolene Sims, Thomas Green back up to the front as well. He's in the middle. James Mendez comes out with the race lead through all that chaos. 4 to go here coming across the backstretch. James Mendez, your race leader. Is he going to win back-to-back races at the 2-mile ovals? Here we go into turn 3. Thomas Green down to the inside. Jolene Sims is going to try and see if she can get up there as well. It's going to be Drew all the way to the bottom, and Drew's going to force the 3 wide here coming off of turn 4. As we come across the line, James Mendez is going to have it by about half a car length. He's able to pull ahead. He's got the sole lead. He has the lane choice, but Jolene Sims gets turned. It's going to be a caution, big wreck as we come down into overtime here. That was a wild several laps. I hope you guys are loving this as much as I am. 4 wide coming off of turn 4, going down into turn 1. This is the kind of racing you love to see at Auto Club Speedway. And like I said, it is a shame that this track is no longer going to be on the NASCAR schedule. But here comes the big thing. We're going to come down into overtime. How many overtimes we're going to use? This is similar to last season. We had Auto Club. I believe we had 2 or 3 overtimes, if I'm remembering correctly. So in that case, there might be some drivers that are cutting it close on fuel. Right now, the ones that are definitely in the clear, if we take multiple overtimes, James Mendez, Tim Moore, and Patrick Moose all in the clear. Ryan McCall also in the clear. Which I didn't even realize. Ryan McCall snuck his way up into the top, almost into the top 5 there. So let's go see that caution. What on earth caused that caution to come out? because that was just wild racing all over. We know Jolene Sims got turned, but what was really the case that brought out our fourth caution of the night? So let's go find Jolene Sims here. Here we go. I believe she just got caught the wrong way by Jarrett Talmadge. Oh no, it's Thomas Green, sorry. Yeah, Thomas Green thought he was clear, and then woo. Yeah, let's go on board. I want to ride on board here with Tim Moore. Let's go Tim Moore, his point of view here. And we're going to slow it down because he came mere inches from contact with the cars in front. So here we go. You can see Jolene Sims pulling ahead. Thomas Green thinks he's clear, makes contact, and here we go. Right here. Just the mess of cars coming down right in front. Patrick Moose literally slides in front of his bumper. Wow. And then even come back up the track. I didn't realize somebody came back up the track almost into him. Holy cow. Let's go one more here. I want to go on board with Thomas Green through this. So you can see coming up on the outside, there goes Mendez. You'll see Jolene Sims pop into view here in a moment. And yeah, oh no, I think it almost didn't look like... Let's back that up a little bit. I want to just see real quick. It almost seemed like... almost like she might have come down a tad too. Just trying to follow Mendez. No damage to the 3 car. Thankfully, a lot of the drivers still have their fast repair. Holy cow. That was one heck of a wreck. Tim Moore said he needs new pants over the driver chat. I don't blame him because holy cow, going 195 miles an hour and you just see these cars sliding in front of you mere inches from making contact from you. Yeah, you're gonna need new pants. It looks like we are doing our choose this time around. James Mendez choosing the outside. Thomas Green will be the leader of the inside. So James Mendez is going to have Jewah behind Jarrett Talmadge. Looks like Isaac Shelley. And that is going to be Jared Newton and Jolene Sims. Now, just a little bit of a review of overtime. I know we haven't had overtime in a couple races. But so with overtime in the OMA VRC, we have unlimited opportunities for overtime. But yeah, we will have unlimited green, white, checkers. And so how it works, we go green, we get green, white, checkered. If we take the white, that is official. The next flag that we take is the green flag. Whoever gets to the line first wins the race. If the caution comes out before we get to the white flag, we stack them back up and we try it again. We do everything we can to get this race to finish under green flag conditions. And yeah, that was all that was tight racing. It just was a racing incident. Nothing wrong with what had happened there. That was no fault to either Jolene or Thomas. It just is, it's an incident of just tight racing. You're racing for the race win. A couple laps to go. I mean, you're going to do everything you can. Incidents like that happen, unfortunately. But taking a look, so we've got James Mendez, Thomas Green on the front row, Jewah, Tim Moore on the second row, Jarrett Talmadge, Minh in the third row. So who's going to be our race winner here tonight? Lots of drivers looking for their first win of the season. Some looking for their first win since we switched over to iRacing. The field in the hands of James Mendez as we go through the Geico restart zone. And he is going to take off here, holding up the field a little bit, trying to see if he can throw Thomas Green's timing off. He's going to jump down to the inside line, and here we go. 2 laps to go. Are we going to finish this time around, or are we going to take a second overtime? It's going to be James Mendez coming around on the outside. Thomas Green down to the bottom. Thomas Green's going to try and see if he can get the slider done, but look out because James Mendez is going to have the momentum coming off the exit. He's actually going to be on the outside of Thomas Green. He's going to be able to pull ahead. And how much speed is he going to be able to carry? Can he get back-to-back wins? Some might call his last win a bit of a Mickey Mouse win with the way the incidents happen coming up to the line. But tonight, he's trying to earn it. That's for sure. On the outside here, coming to the line. White flag out. And it is going to be waving. We are going to take the white flag. This is official. Next flag we take is the checkered. Who's going to be our race winner? 3 wide coming down turn 1. And it's going to be James Mendez on the outside. Jewah in the middle. Thomas Green all the way to the bottom. Is the 92 going to have the speed coming back onto the backstretch? Not going to have it there. Ooh, Jared Talmadge gets loose. He's going to be into the outside wall. That is unfortunate for the 16, but it is a 3-horse race now at this point. James Mendez, where is he going to go? Chooses the outside line. He's got to send it hard because Drew's had that bottom line on lock. Drew's looking for his first win of the season. Can the reigning champ finally get into victory lane? Thomas Green side by side. They are adoring coming down to the line. It's going to be Drew Jewah getting his first win of season 11. And what a phenomenal race. And I know some drivers disappointed that we did not get to go to Eldora tonight. The dirt racing would have definitely been amazing to watch, but man, Auto Club did not disappoint. That's for sure. Never does. One of my personal favorite tracks, and I know last season produced some amazing racing, and even tonight we got some great driving here at Auto Club. So let's go through our final results for tonight's race. Your race winner for the first time in season 11, the 36 of Drew Jewah. Thomas Green comes home in second place in the 3 machine. James Mendez, after winning Michigan, does a phenomenal job putting himself into the podium. So just a career set of races there for the 92 machine. Minh comes home in 4th place, and Isaac Shelley rounds out the top 5. Tim Moore comes out in 6th place. Patrick Moose in his first start comes in 7th. Jolene Sims back in 8th. Ryan McCall in 9th. Jared Talmadge, after that incident, at least able to pull out a top 10. So that points leader, we'll see if he holds on to the points lead after this week. Luca Mazzilli in 11th. Victor Imbasciani in 12th. Jared Newton 13th. Tyler Glass 14th. Outside of the lead lap, we have Noah McCalliard in 15th. Brad Qualls in 16th. Jimmy Amos in 17th. JT Sipes 18th. And then rounding out the field in 19th, we have Hamilton Akabuzi and then Jonathan Amodio in 20th. So we are going to see if we can pull in our top 3 finishers. But man, that was just phenomenal racing throughout the entire field. And I just have to say, congratulations just to the entire league. I mean, that was just great racing. You love to see what we saw. Just good, clean, hard racing all throughout the night. So we are waiting for some of the podium finishers to get up into the booth. I think we see Drew here. So let's go ahead and we'll pull him in a little order. Normally we do it 3, 2, 1, but we could do it in a reverse order here tonight. So we have the reigning champion for the OMA VRC and his first win here in season 11, the driver of the now 36 machine, Drew Jewah. And Drew, congratulations on that win, but man, that was an intense race all the way through. Oh, hang on. Give me 1 second. I forgot. I always keep forgetting to switch over to get Discord onto the stream. There you go. Now everybody can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. It was a interesting race all around. I mean, we went green the first half. What's it called? The 7 car had to go. I was talking to him. He had to leave. So unfortunately, he was the fastest car at least early in the race, and I just really saved my tires and was able to, you know, kind of run my own line. I know everybody was kind of defending the top, and it's kind of what you had to do, but we were able to kind of make our way up to the field, and that was some crazy racing. I mean, 3 wide, you know, all those moves that were being made. And I was hoping it was going to go green at the end because it was going to be a crazy fight to the finish. And, you know, we ended up making the right strategy call this week, especially after the whole Michigan ordeal. That wasn't fun, where we, you know, we're leading going in turn 4 and finishing like 111. So, you know, it's nice to get our first win of the season, and kind of a one-off, especially in the 36 car. I was letting somebody else run in the 38 this week. So definitely a super exciting race, and looking forward to next week at Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, looking back throughout this race, you had a great car. Like you said, tire saving was the strategy, and we kind of saw that throughout the race. Early in the run, you weren't really fighting for the front. You just hanging out, riding the bottom line, doing the best you can to keep those tires fresh, and then at the end, you had phenomenal pace. And we even saw it throughout the second green flag cycle, you were catching the 7 car really, really well. It was slowly over time, but you had phenomenal pace to be able to get back up to him. Now, throughout tonight's race, I mean, like you said, it was really intense, 3, even 4 wide racing. Was there any moments you got a little bit of PTSD back to Michigan that it might happen the same way, like coming up to the line, you guys are 3 wide and have that incident?
Yeah, especially going into turn. I don't know how long we were 4 wide, but I think it was Jolene on the top, Thomas to my outside. It was me, and then Hades on the bottom, or Mendez on the bottom, and we were 4 wide. And I was like, I yelled out, especially in chat, saying we were 4 wide, and just kind of be wary of it. So, you know, I didn't really have any too big of PTSD until we had that caution, and I was like, I don't really know what the right strategy call is, because with it being such a nighttime race and the track being so cool, we were only falling off that 8/10 like I felt like we were going to. So I thought it was the right strategy call, especially with our tires cooling off enough where, with it being a GWC, the tire fall wasn't going to be as much, anywhere near as bad as Michigan's.
Oh, you muted yourself.
Yeah, I can't mute my mic. But yeah, we were able to hold off. You know, we made that aggressive move, but I knew I had been able to kind of make those moves all night, where if I really wanted to, I could hold it on somebody's outside and kind of still have the turn that I needed to. So definitely a super enjoyable race. I don't remember the last time I've been, you know, 3 and 4 wide making crossovers back and forth. So appreciate everybody for racing me super cleanly up front. Yeah, that's to come and get our first win of season 11, 10, 11, 10.
11. Yeah, again, like I said, phenomenal racing from you, Drew. Great finish for you, coming away with your first win of season 11. So before you go on out to celebrate your win, anything else you'd like to say? Anybody you would like to thank?
Yeah, shout out to you as always for doing what you do in the broadcast booth. It's always fun going back and watching the race. Shout out to Nexus Esports. I had actually 2 of my teammates running tonight, the 7 and the 38, and you know, they both had the speed, just didn't have the luck that they needed. And you know, we'll come back and we'll see if we can go back to back and, you know, kind of get redemption for last year at Charlotte, where I felt like we should have won. So looking forward to that.
All right. Well, again, congratulations on the race win, and we'll see you next week at Charlotte. Best of luck next week.
Yep, thank you.
All right. So that was Drew Jewah, driver of the 36 machine, winning his first race here in season 11. So now we have our second place finisher, Thomas Green, driver of the 3 machine. And Thomas, it's been quite a while since we've had you up here in the booth. You missed a handful of races towards the end of last season, but tonight, and even back at Michigan, you had yourself up at the front for pretty much the entire race. And coming there at the end, you were side by side, that 3 wide coming down into turns 1 and 2 on the white flag. What happened through the last lap that caused you to fall off a little bit?
Yeah, I think I sent it a little too hard into turn 1. I kind of rolled it in there, used a little less brake, thinking that they were going to kind of set up more for an exit and being side by side. And I had the space. If I would have just came up in front of the 92, we could have got it. But it just it's frustrating. We had such a fast car all race, and I had some unfortunate stuff with JoJo happen, and that was just kind of hard racing. Like, I apologize. It's not how I want to race people, but at a type of track like this where side drafting is so important, and drafting in general, it's tough to not have incidents. I'm surprised we were as clean as we were, especially for the finish today. It was a really good finish, and yeah, if I could have just had a better 1 and 2, maybe we could have got clear a little sooner. I just didn't want to wreck myself going for it. I'd rather settle for a second or a third, think about the big picture. But yeah, I mean, that was a lot of fun. Good win to Drew. Congrats to him. That was a well fought battle.
I have to say, that battle between you and Drew in those couple laps before that caution, you guys going crossover after crossover, absolutely amazing to see. And just how were you able to pull that off? Because the way you were setting that car, you were going so high in the entry, then setting it so late on the apex. It's almost like you were driving it at Michigan. Take us through that battle a little bit, because that was some phenomenal racing between the two of you guys.
Well, it's actually something I picked up at Michigan. I realized that if you kind of enter a little higher, if you can only do it if you have a gap, but if you have a gap behind you, you can enter kind of higher, brake a little bit more. I knew his line on the bottom. We've battled here before. Me and Drew have had a lot of laps together here, and setting him up for that crossover. I even thought after like the second or third crossover, however many there was, I was like, how many times do I have to cross him over? Like this is crazy. But yeah, just using a little bit more brake and turning down, I was confident with my rear stability on the exit of 2 there, and that was definitely my strongest corner. 3 and 4 was a little rough. I found a couple of lines there, but it really came down to 1 and 2 being the deciding factor really, and yeah, he just got the best of it for sure.
Hey, like I said, it was phenomenal racing from you. And we've seen you, thankfully, we've seen you the past couple races, hopefully to keep you around and hopefully get you back into victory lane, maybe even next week at Charlotte, because again, those intermediate tracks, we know those are your strong suits. You do very, very well at the intermediate tracks. Before you go, Thomas, anybody you would like to thank? Anything else you would like to say?
I just want to say big thank you to you for broadcasting. I always love watching them back, and this one's going to be a fun one to watch back. A lot of really good race, a lot of good battles. So yeah, big shout out to you for that, and big shout out to my girlfriend Anna for all the support. I love you very much. Thank you.
All right, well, congratulations, Thomas, on your second place finish. So that is Thomas Green, driver of the 3 Machine. A big finish for him here tonight in second place. Now we're going to pull in last race's race winner, James Mendez, driver of the 92. And James, you had yourself quite the race tonight. Had yourself up the front for pretty much the entire race, even leading there at the restart. Take us through those last couple of laps, that green-white checker, that overtime attempt. What happened with you there? You ended up coming back into third, but you had a great run there up to the white flag.
Yeah, I felt comfortable with running the high line tonight, or not super high, but pretty high. And I felt like, first off, protecting the right rear side of the car was the most important thing, because that's how you get past in the straightaways, was my first worry. But the tires just didn't hook up on that restart there. Like, I don't know what the deal was. I took off great because I played games with them there late, and the draft is so strong at this track. It's just unbelievably, powerful. But yeah, it's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But it just didn't hook up late when I wanted it to, and couldn't get the win. And I wasn't going to run through Drew to get that win. That's not necessary.
Well, and so you talked about, first off, right in the high line, you weren't that close. There were many times, sir, that we saw that back bumper was mere inches from hitting that outside wall. So you were riding up there a good bit. But yeah, one thing you talk about just riding that high line and it being fast, it was very fast, but it seemed like in the short run, it just, that bottom line seemed to be that superior line, as we saw drivers going really, really deep there at the end. But taking a look, just past race, you won Michigan. You even if there wasn't that wreck, you still had yourself set up for a very good finish. Here tonight, third place. Things are definitely trending up right now for the 92 team.
It is, and I'm disappointed in the third place finish, which, a couple weeks ago I would have been thrilled with one. But I think with how fast I was tonight and making my way through the field, not easily, but, with some relative speed, I definitely think I really should have won this race. But I don't feel comfortable, like I said, running through somebody I don't want a Michigan 2.0. I'm not that type of driver to do that. But like you said, the inside lane on the short runs was, I thought, okay, so at night, I think the track has a lot more opportunity to really give drivers more lanes on the bottom. So I was kind of against it late before we did this race, because the top in the day is really preferred. But it's nice to have options. It definitely helped when I went like 4 wide for the lead with like 5 laps to go or something like that. But yeah, I think it's just the way the racing is, and I have no problem with it as long as I'm not getting killed every race, which I haven't been. So we'll just see if we can not wreck next week and get turned on the straightaway like this race, and see if we can. I don't even know what Charlotte. You'll probably see me running like 10th. But had a good couple weeks here, and glad to talk to you.
Hey, like I said, it's been great having you up here in the booth these past 2 races. It's been all up here right now for the 92 team. But before you head on out, James, then get ready for Charlotte next week. Anything else you would like to say? Anybody you would like to thank?
I'd like to thank Tim for not getting mad at me when I wrecked him earlier, because it was just he got loose and I ran into the back of him. I tried to cross over, it just didn't work. Drew and Thomas for not like obliterating me. Most of the field didn't even obliterate me, except that one guy who turned me on the straightaway. I think for as much pack racing as we had the last 2 weeks, I'm kind of proud of majority of the field. Normally these can turn into a bunch of wreck fests, but it's been good. I don't mind it. So I think you've probably enjoyed it as much as I have. It's just the way it goes. So.
Oh, when you watch this race back, you'll hear me losing my mind, especially when you guys went 4 wide across the entire front stretch and into turn 1. So it was definitely a good time up here in the booth. I'm glad you guys had a good time down there on the track too.
Yeah, and if anyone's wondering, I do stream my side of point of views from the races, so I was pretty excited too. You'll probably hear a lot of cuss words, but that's just because we're racing. So.
All right, well, congratulations again, James, on your 3rd place finish, getting you back up here on the podium in back-to-back races. And best of luck next week at Charlotte.
Yep, thank you.
So that was James Mendez, driver of the 92. Another great finish for him. And like we said, things only looking up from here for the 92 team as he's been trending upward these past couple of races. But with all that being said, we want to take a moment to thank you all again for joining us here at Racing Lights Productions for the Online Motorsports Association's Virtual Racing Championship Can Minh Hang 200. Congratulations to Jewah for getting his first win of Season 11 in tonight's race. Join us next Saturday as we head back to Charlotte Motor Speedway for our longest race of the season and what was one of our most climactic races last season. Make sure to follow the OMA on Twitter with @OMA_league to stay up to date on everything happening with not only the VRC, but all the leagues that they run. We hope you all enjoyed the broadcast tonight. I want to thank the OMA for allowing us to bring this race to all of you. Be sure to check out Racing Lights Productions on Twitter with @RacingLightsPro, as well as on Facebook and Instagram. You can head over on, you can stay here on the YouTube channel and you can check out any previous broadcasts you may have missed. We have all Season 11 and Season 10 races in playlists for all of you. I'm Alex Light saying good night to you from the virtual Auto Club Speedway. Thanks again for tuning in.